snow swirled around the lonely train depot as Selena Hart stacked firewood beside the potbelly stove. Winter had settled heavy over the frontier, and trains passed through less and less. Some days she wondered if the world had forgotten this tiny outpost, but she kept the lamps lit anyway. Habit, duty, hope. Selena's life had been quiet since her husband, the former depot keeper, had passed 2 winters ago. Folks called her the train station widow, and though she hated the name, it stuck. She had learned to live with the quiet, the empty benches, the long stretch of tracks disappearing into the white horizon. Just as she finished sweeping the snow from the platform, a tall stranger approached through the storm. His coat was worn, his hat dusted with frost, and his boots carried miles of hard travel. He tipped his hat politely. "Train, headed east, still comin' through here?" he asked, voice low and warm. "It should," Selena replied. "Though winter doesn't keep schedules very well." The stranger gave a slow smile. "Name's Ezekiel Ward. Been on the trail a long time. Figured I'd catch a ride to start something new." She nodded, trying not to notice the kindness in his eyes. "You're welcome to warm up inside. Storm's getting worse." Ezekiel followed her in, settling near the stove. As he thawed, he glanced around the deep old timetables, scuffed benches, Selena's careful order. "You run this place all by yourself?" "Just me," she paused. "Most folks don't stay long." "Well," he murmured, stretching his hands toward the heat, "maybe this time I will." Selena didn't know what to say to that. The clock ticked loudly behind them. Outside, the wind howled, and for the first time in months, the depot didn't feel so empty. The storm raged on, trapping them together in that small, warm room. Ezekiel told her stories. From the trail mountains crossed, deserts survived, strangers met. Selena listened, mesmerized, feeling something stir inside her she thought she'd buried long ago. But midnight came, and the whistle never sounded. No train, no lights, just the storm. Selena glanced at Ezekiel. "Looks like you'll be here till morning." He nodded with a grin. "I don't mind the wait." And neither did she. By morning, the storm had eased, but the tracks remained buried under drifts of snow. Selena inspected the rails, brushing frost from the signal pole. No fresh markings. No sign of the eastbound train at all. Ezekiel joined her, hands in his pockets. "You look disappointed." "I keep this station running because I believe the trains will keep coming if they stop." She swallowed. "Then what am I?" "A woman who kept hope alive longer than most," he said gently. She looked away to hide the warmth rising in her cheeks. Inside the depot, they worked together, clearing snow, rekindling the fire, and mending a broken bench leg. Ezekiel insisted he could fix. He was handy-steady with tools, patient with the work. Selena found herself watching him more than she should. "You don't talk much about yourself," Ezekiel said, as he tightened a bolt. "Not much to tell," she replied. "I grew up near here, married young. My husband loved trains, so we ran this depot together. After he passed, I kept it going." "And you never thought of leaving?" She shook her head. "This place is part of me." He nodded slowly. "Funny, I've been everywhere, and I'm not sure if any place is mine." Their eyes met, a softness lingering between them. Selena felt it's something shifting. As the day stretched on, travelers arrived, trickling through ranch hands, seeking shelter. A post-rider dropping off delayed mail. They all asked if a train was coming soon. Selena could only shrug, her heart growing heavier with each question. Ezekiel watched her from the corner of the depot as she tended duties. She moved with quiet strength, balancing kindness with firmness. He admired her more than he knew how to say. Near sunset, he approached the ticket window where she sat sorting papers. "You know, if that train doesn't show today, or tomorrow, or the next, maybe it's not that you're waiting for it." She looked up, confused. "Then what am I waiting for?" Ezekiel rested his hands on the counter. "Maybe someone, not something." Her heart fluttered, traitorous and warm. She opened her mouth to respond, but footsteps and voices filled the depot again. Evening travelers. More delays. More questions. The moment slipped away, but the feeling didn't. Ezekiel smiled softly before stepping back. I guess we'll both keep waiting. And for the first time, Selena wondered if waiting didn't feel so lonely anymore. Days passed, each one colder than the last, and the elusive eastbound train still failed to arrive. Ezekiel stayed, helping with chores, repairing old lanterns, chopping wood, and lifting the depot's burdens in ways Selena hadn't realized she needed. The townsfolk grew curious. A few raised brows when they saw a stranger lingering by Selena's side. She ignored them, but she couldn't deny the flutter in her chest whenever Ezekiel smiled her way. One evening, she found him sitting on the platform, staring down the snowy tracks. "You're troubled," she said gently, as she approached. He hesitated before answering. "Selena, there's something I need to tell you." She sat beside him, the cold wood creaking under them. The sky glowed pale blue with dusk. Ezekiel exhaled slowly. "I didn't come here just to catch a train. I came because I'm running from something." Fear prickled up her spine, but his voice stayed steady, calm. "I ain't a criminal," he said, "but I saw things back west. A rancher abusing his workers. I spoke against it. It put me on the wrong side of some powerful men. I left before they could decide what to do with me." Selena let out a breath she didn't realize she held. "So you're hiding?" "Yeah. And I didn't mean to drag that trouble here. If anyone comes asking, I won't betray you," she said softly. Ezekiel stared at her, almost startled. "Why?" Selena folded her hands in her lap. "Because you've been honest. And because I believe you're a good man." His eyes softened. A slow, grateful warmth spread between them. When they returned to the depot, a telegram crackled through the wire. Selena hurried to decode it, her brow furrowed. "What is it?" Ezekiel asked. "It says the eastbound train derailed outside Cotton Ridge. No survivors." Ezekiel paled. "That was the train I was waiting for." Selena placed a trembling hand on the counter. "If you'd kept traveling, you would have been on it." Silence settled heavy. Ezekiel stepped closer. "Maybe fate meant for me to stop here." Selena's heart thudded painfully, but she didn't pull away when he gently took her hand. For the first time since her husband's death, she felt something like destiny stirring again. The next week brought an uneasy calm. Selena and Ezekiel fell into a quiet routine, sharing meals, fixing up the depot, speaking softly by lamplight, as though afraid to disturb the fragile warmth blooming between them. But peace never lasts on the frontier. Just after noon, 3 riders appeared on the horizon, broad hats, dust-covered coats, and cold eyes scanning the depot. Ezekiel stiffened the moment he saw them. "That's them," he whispered. "Men from the ranch." Selena's blood chilled. "What do they want?" "To silence me." She grabbed his arm. "You need to hide." Ezekiel shook his head. "I won't bring danger to your doorstep." But she pulled him toward the back storage room anyway. "You listen to me, Ezekiel Ward. You've helped me more than you know. Let me help you now." He hesitated, then nodded. She closed the door behind him. The riders dismounted, boots thudding heavily on the platform. The leader, a tall man with a scar down his cheek, approached the ticket window. "Evenin', ma'am," he said. "We're looking for a man passed through here. Calls himself Ezekiel." Selena held the man's steely gaze, refusing to tremble. "Haven't seen anyone by that name." The man narrowed his eyes. "Funny, got word. Someone matching his description took shelter around these parts. Plenty of travelers look the same in winter coats," she countered. He leaned in, voice dropping. "Ma'am, that man's trouble." Selena forced a calm she didn't feel. So is accusing strangers without proof. The scarred man stared at her a long moment, weighing her words. Then he stepped back. "If you see him, tell him the ranch wants a word." The scarred man stared at her a long moment, weighing her words. Then he stepped back. "If you see him, tell him the ranch wants a word." They mounted their horses and rode off, their dark silhouettes fading into the pale horizon. Ezekiel emerged from the storage room, shame and worry etched across his face. Selena, you shouldn't be lied for me. She stepped close, her voice steady. I told you, I believe you. Winter deepened, but so did the bond between Selena and Ezekiel. They shared long nights by lamplight, laughter over morning coffee, and quiet glances that carried more meaning than words ever could. But the ranch hands would return. Ezekiel knew it. Selena knew it. And when the day came, they'd have to face them. The storm broke on a brittle, windy morning. Selena was sweeping the platform when she spotted dust clouds, rising riders, more this time. Ezekiel joined her, jaw tight. Their back. Selena swallowed her fear and squeezed his hand. We faced them together. The riders halted in front of the depot. The scarred man dismounted first. Ward, he called. You got two choices, come quiet, or we settle this frontier style. Ezekiel stepped forward. I won't run, but I won't be silenced either. Selena moved beside him, and he won't stand alone. The men exchanged glances. The scarred leader spat into the dirt. Fine, you want to protect him. Then you best know the truth. Your precious ranch owner admitted Ezekiel was right. They're done pursuing him. We were sent to bring that message. Ezekiel froze. What? He's cleared. The man grunted. We ain't got reason to chase you anymore. Selena exhaled shakily. Ezekiel reached for her hand, gripping it tightly. The men rode off, leaving the depot quiet once more. Ezekiel turned to her, eyes full of relief and something deeper, something fierce and tender. Selena, I never thought I'd find peace, or a place I belonged. She cupped his cheek. You found both, right here. He kissed her, again this time, with certainty, with promise. When they finally pulled apart, Selena smiled. So, what will you do now that you're free? Ezekiel glanced at the depot, the tracks, the snow, and then at her. If you'll have me, I'd like to stay. Help you run this place. Tears warmed her eyes. I'd like that very much. They stood together on the platform, watching the horizon. And, though no train appeared that day, Selena no longer waited for one. She had already found the arrival that mattered. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more Western stories.